Hi guys, welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy. On August 13th, 2018, Chris Watts drove his pregnant wife and two daughters to an oil site where he tragically ended their lives and disposed of their bodies in a horrific manner. Tonight, let's delve into an update on this chilling case. Is Chris Watts still languishing in a cell surrounded by the delightful aroma of his own and others' flatulence, dreaming of his former life in a big house with a vivacious wife and two, soon to be three, lovely children? I mean, spoiler alert, yeah. So let's peek around and see what's what. And let's dive into the twisted world of Chrissy Poo Watts on this episode of Parawomenradio. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the power crew to roll in. Shout out to my replay crew. Guess what, guys? It's Weird Watts Wednesday, babies. Please welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I'd steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, falling deep into you.
I never have to worry about missing my cue because I've got my power crew with me. Happy Weird Watts Wednesday, y'all. Did you have a good day? Did you get through it at least? I hope so. All right, guys. So before we get started, if we can do that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. We're coming to you today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Giving me the thumbs up just helps us dance out into the algorithm, party out there, find more interesting people, bring them back to our safe space where we like to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of snark, but we do it in a way that is all kind and respectful to one another, I would say. In doing the research on the Chris Watts case, nothing really new has popped up. So here are the rules of tonight. I did 1 month out, but really give me like 4 months time span. And, he is still just sitting there smelling farts, talking to women, trying to pretend like he's not gay for the stay. And he's there for the stay. So, and this is all my opinion. And all my research, everything that we watch, I will put down in the YouTube show notes. And And I often will talk over it, or we won't watch it all, or I speed it up. And I do this for fair play use, but I always cite my sources, and I always put them down in the YouTube show notes. So, yay! Are you guys ready? Let's see what you guys are saying. Are you saying anything about the Watts case? Has anybody heard anything new about the Watts case? Tonight we have 2 mods in here, Heaven Lee and Chris C. But something is kind of taking Chris C's attention. She is trying to do both. So just so you know, she might not answer you right away. But Heaven Lee... Well, and also this Friday, if you guys are into the Gypsy Rose case, we're going to be talking about Gypsy Rose because she's trying to silence creators. And you know, nothing gets my blood boiling like people trying to silence me and others. I might not always agree what others are saying, but I believe we have the right to say them. At least it's if it's not harmful and whatnot. So, okay, let me get my screen together. Tony says, I haven't heard anything new about the Watts case. Yeah, the only thing that I've heard new was that the house sold, and we did cover that. I'll put a link somewhere for you if you missed that. But yeah, the house sold. We haven't figured out who the buyers are yet. That hasn't broke yet. And yeah, but so one of my favorite content creators, let me remove that, is Real Killers. And I'm sure you guys have heard of them and you love them. And I just love hearing his voice. His voice is like, he should read audiobooks or, well, I mean, he's doing YouTube, but I mean, he should be doing more with that voice. But he is, Dylan Talman, his cell neighbor, wrote these series of books, and we're supposed to interview Dylan, but he got sent back to Dodge Correctional. And I spoke to his girlfriend, like, I don't know, I think it was like 2 months ago. I don't know, time is flying by, so maybe it's been 3 months ago. But he was getting settled in. She was very unhappy. They couldn't talk to each other as much. But I'll reach out and see if he's settled, and see. I am also trying to coordinate a live between Real Killers and What's the Obsession. And I want to pull in some of the our people that were, he's a I don't know if I say it right. Cowboy RC. He worked in the prison system. He was a sergeant or something like that. He worked his way up to the top, and he's very fair. And I just want to kind of I thought that it would be like really interesting to have all of us together in one live. But I'm trying to bring in new guests. Or panels. I don't know if we call them guests or panels. I treat them like guests, but people call them panels too. So I don't know. All right. So this is Real Killers. And let me make it bigger for you. Well, first. And this is the Cell Next Door book 2. So did he put out 2 or 3? I think he might have done 3. But I don't know. Maybe just 2. And this is the second book by Dylan. And he has a unique perspective because he also did time in Dodge Correctional. So it's always really interesting to hear what he says, in my opinion, for the sheer fact that he was there. He knows what's up. So, and he talks, like, sometimes I worry that Chris Watts is having a cushy life. I mean, I don't want him to have, like, I don't want him to be waterboarded or anything like that. I don't want any of that. but I don't want him to, I really don't think, I don't know. I don't want to take his rights away to write to people either, but it doesn't make me feel good that he's just sitting there after what he did, writing women. And we've covered some of the letters talking about, soaking panties. And I just have never felt really good about Chris Watts. And Real Killer makes it feel like he is not having a comfy, cushy life. So let's get into it.
Inmates will try to forget about the outside world when they know.
Oh, shoot. I've been having problems with my sound. I'm doing something and I don't know what I'm doing that makes the sound. Is it this?
They will never see the light
there
of
it
day.
is.
I know people that have been down since the 90s and sometimes wonder how they're doing. I run into relatives of incarcerated individuals that I once called a friend or a brother 25 years ago who are still down.
I just got a new system and he brought it to me. I needed Bluetooth because my speakers are Bluetooth and there's no Bluetooth in here, but he brought it to me. He had a card that wasn't a Bluetooth and he ordered one. And so I just want you to know the sound isn't going to be an issue for much longer.
Then life overwhelms us as it goes on, and we forget that they exist after a while. It's a sad but true reality. Inmates have their good and bad days, as good as it can get under the circumstances. Nobody can ever really be happy in prison, right? I've actually met inmates who were very content with being incarcerated, institutionalized, and down for 20 with 20 to go. I suppose one can find peace on the inside. Everyone is different with different upbringings. If life in the free world was filled with pain and hurt already, then prison might not be so bad in comparison. Chris had a beautiful family, a good job, and a nice home. I was in the Dodge Correctional Institution, still on a PO hold. Wisconsin parole and probation were holding me in a prison, though I was not yet sentenced to prison. They had me right where they wanted me. It was a terrible feeling to be in that situation. I was currently working on a book series with Chris. It was our God's Plan series. We had created a series of spiritual books. Chris and I had an outlet where we could vent through scripture, saying things that are not revealed, and interpreting the word of God. Chris and I were making progress working on our cases. In my case, possession with intent. The police never field tested what they identified as equity. In his case, things were very complicated. He had confessed 3 different times, in 3 different ways. However, the trauma from the tragedy brought him fear just to talk about it. We were slowly progressing in everything we did. 1, spiritually. 2, our workouts. 3, our cases. 4, knowledge. 5, wisdom. 6, understanding. Utilizing our time by staying productive while imprisoned was actually a good use of time. Chris and I just had a conversation about his case, and things were dicey. Over 50% of inmates are convicted, and the courts do not have 75% of the facts of their cases. Nowadays, 90% of criminal convictions are resolved by plea deals. Chris took a plea deal, and only a few months after his arrest. Usually these types of cases take years to resolve, especially when an entire family has been taken.
But does it take years if someone, it doesn't take years if someone anyway, he's saying because he took a plea deal, it went fast? Because that's why it went fast.
Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. We delved deeper into his case, and made progress. Chris was beginning to open up to me about everything. On this particular day, we were discussing his case. I was looking for grounds for an appeal. So you're saying you took a plea deal before having a preliminary hearing? I asked. Yes, Chris replied. Are you sure you didn't waive your rights to a preliminary hearing? I asked. What do you mean? Chris asked. Did you sign something saying you don't want a preliminary hearing? I asked. I don't think so, he managed. Why did you sign a plea deal to the maximum punishment? I questioned. Colorado had the death penalty, and they told me if I didn't take the plea, they would give me the death sentence, he told me. That's basically.
It just shows like what a wuss he is. Like he took the plea deal because he could have got put to death, but he's such an idiot at the same time because like what his mom said, nobody gets put to death in Colorado, and then after that they abolished it. So he's just a wuss. And he's a wuss, and so that's why I just can't figure out how he could have possibly done this himself. That's why I always think that there's a possibility that the mistress did it. I know a lot of you think it's 100% a done deal, but I don't know. But after the whole Diddy thing, I'm starting to question reality, like what's real and what's not. I think what we think about society, it's going to be, and by 20 years from now, it's going to be completely overhauled. The way that we look at our institutions, the church, the schools, everything is being shook up right now.
A threat. Sign here or die, I replied. It felt like it, he said. I don't think you can do that, bro, I told Chris. I leafed through the Black's Law Dictionary and found change of venue. Bro, this says if your case has a lot of publicity, you can hear your case somewhere else. In your case, perhaps another country, I laughed. Or another planet, he laughed and returned. At least he could find humor in his nearly hopeless situation. My attorney told me to file ineffective assistance of counsel on him, he said. So basically, he told you that he didn't assist you in your best possible defense as required by law? Also, it took these types of cases a couple of years to resolve. Yours only took a few months. That's not normal or even heard of, I told him. If I go back to court on appeal, they will transfer me back to Colorado, and inmates and people there want to kill me, which is why they sent me here, he explained. I am just not looking forward to reliving all this. It was the worst thing I have ever experienced, he said. I know, but do it for your parents. They love you and it would mean the world to your mom, I said. Yeah, it would. But these phone calls are recorded and I said too much over these phone calls, he admitted. You also had 3 different ways you said you did it, I exclaimed. Because I confessed, how will I come back from that? Chris asked. They threatened your life and got you. No, wait, bullied you into a guilty plea. You were an easy target. The husband, they needed this case under wraps for some reason.
Isn't it interesting how when you get into prison, you get all the voices in your ear? The Richard Allen case, the Delphi, Indiana case, I was watching Lawyer Lee, and she had a guest on, and I don't know if the guest was an inmate or an ex-guard or no, she was prison psychologist. Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, she said that's like they put things into your head. Like it's just, but I mean, what else do you have to do there but just have people put things into your head and watch people? It's like the biggest person watching event of a lifetime. And he's such a bird brain that it would be so easy to put like pss, 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 into this guy's head. And Laura Lynn, I love you too. And thank you for being a member for 2 months. A dragonfly. Laura Lynn is a dragonfly. Dragonfly is our community over on YouTube. I release all my videos early. There's special emojis. You get included in the intro and outro. I do a dragonfly of the month. I haven't picked one in November because I was having all the computer issues, and I just don't know if I want to pick one or just wait for December. So I don't want to shortchange anyone. So I think we're going to skip November and then do December. But yeah, it's just a way that you support me and I support you, and it's $2.99 a month. You also get to know the people better, and YouTube's starting a new thing. It's unlaunching, unrolling. It's going to be kind of like a group type situation. I heard it was like a cross between Facebook and Threads, something like that. So we're going to be able to connect even more. I don't do Patreon or Discord because I can barely handle what I'm doing right now. So it'll be really nice when that happens. But right now, we are pretty close bunch, and I would love to have you.
I conveyed. There was an election coming up, I think, he said. Now we can go over these circuit court trial errors all day, but it will come down to you fighting your cases again if you get your sentence overturned. You will be back on trial, I said. Then the truth will have to come out. I don't want to cause my wife's family any more grief, Chris said. What about your family and their constant grief? I pointed out. All you can do from here is redeem yourself because you confessed your wife and kids in cold blood, I said. I didn't them in cold blood, Chris replied, slightly defensively. My wife came home and she knew I was having an affair. We got into a fight. She attacked me. I was simply defending myself. And then my daughter, Standing count, the sergeant announced, interrupting our conversation. After she did her round, we continued our conversation.
Okay, so he's pretty much sticking with Shanann attacked her. Bella walked in.
Afterward, I talked to Jezebel.
Oh, and I stopped it too to say, Heavenly has been a member for 4 months. Yay! And I think I saw that Hollywood got her stuff situated. I don't know, or maybe you were talking about another. I don't see. Hold on one second, you guys. And hi, and welcome to all the people coming in. Darlene, and I saw a few other people. Welcome, Shane. Thank you for letting us know that you like our show. Okay, so he's basically sticking with his story. Let's see what else he has to say.
I panicked, so I confided in her, and she said she would help me. He said, my wife medicated her heavily that night because she kept crying. After I killed my wife by choking her to death because she had a knife, something in me just died.
Wait a minute.
It was an accident. I loved her with all my heart and still do.
Wait a minute. What did he just say? What did he just say?
Come out. I don't want to cause my wife's family any more grief, Chris said. What about your family and their constant grief? I pointed out. All you can do from here is redeem yourself because you confessed your wife and kids in cold blood, I said. I didn't them in cold blood, Chris replied, slightly
We didn't? Huh.
Defensively. My wife came home and she knew I was having an affair. We got into a fight. She attacked me. I was simply defending myself. And then my daughter, Standing count, the sergeant announced, interrupting our conversation. After she did her round, we continued our conversation. Afterward, I talked to Jezebel. I panicked, so I confided in her.
Oh, after a while, he talked to Nichol and he panicked and he confided in her.
And she said she would help me, he said.
And she said she would help her. So, like, part of the story is true. Like, he always anchors his lies in truth anyway. So, I can see Shanann coming home because after the whole credit card thing, any woman would know. I mean, her antenna was probably up so high. And I don't know if any sex happened that night either. But yeah, I can see that.
My wife medicated her heavily that night because she kept crying. After I killed my wife by choking her to death because she had a knife.
Oh, okay. So Bella walked in and she wouldn't stop crying. And so Shanann medicated her. Is that what he's saying? And then they had sex and then.
Something in me just died. It was an accident. I loved her with all my heart and still do. I just want to honor her memory and not ruin her memory. People want the truth, but I don't owe it to anyone. It's my family that I lost, and it's me serving life in prison.
Lost? You didn't lose them. You didn't lose them, friend. You did something else to them. So where does Nichol come in this? Like, I heard that he called the Jezebel, but what did the Jezebel say? What did the Jezebel do? Did she say, put the kid back to bed, F the wife, and then what? Unalive her, and then I'll come over and do the kids? I don't know. What do you guys think?
What else do I owe? Chris asked. You owe yourself a fair chance. Redemption at that. The truth shall set you free, bro. The ball's in your court. Only you can appeal your case. Only you can put truth out there, and only God can judge you, I explained. When they tell me to put my hand on the Bible and swear, I'm going to open it to where Jesus forbids oath. Chris laughed. Well, I'm not sure how that'll fly, but I'd love to see the reaction in the courtroom, I said. Anyway, I told my mistress what had happened, and she told me how to hide my wife's body. She said to bring the girls with. I was just on autopilot, like in shock. So I grabbed my younger daughter out of bed. She was asleep. My older daughter was awake and asking about her mom. I told her that she was in a deep sleep and Daddy was going to get her some help and wake up. Before we left, I had to check in with.
God, that made my stomach do a flip-flop. Mommy's in a deep sleep. You can hear him saying, I can hear him saying that, can't you? This sounds like maybe, is this like the fourth telling of the story? I don't even know. We're going to have to stop it in a minute when we get midway through, because we never like to play everything, a creator's entire content. I like to stop it, make it like nice and juicy for you to go over and give them some love as well.
With Mr. Tallman, you have a pass to CPSU, the sergeant announced. I was going to see my clinical psychologist. We'll finish.
I love how he even does like the different sounds for the voices of the guards and stuff. The psychologist or whoever walked by.
This conversation when I get back, all right? I suggested. Yeah, sure, Chris replied. I have heard a lot about people's cases directly from them. This case was different from the rest. I have a discerning spirit and I was able to tell that he wouldn't fly in cold blood. However, what I know so far is that he killed his wife, but not intentionally. Next, I was going to find out exactly what happened to the girls. Until next time, Dylan Tallman.
Okay, so Dylan seems to think that, you guys probably know the ending of this book. I haven't read it yet, so Dylan, we know that Dylan believed Chris. I don't think he believes him much anymore. I wonder if he's like met up with Chris since he's gotten back into the prison. And so let's move along. And speaking of Jezebels, let's get into the Jezebel. Martin Decoder put something out 2 days ago. Chris Watts' disturbing details about his marriage exposed nature that went unnoticed. So I thought we would take a peek at this one next. But let me see what you guys are saying. Hey, Darlene. Hey, Veronica. Did I miss somebody? I thought somebody came in. Hi, Michelle Cherry. Okay, let me see what you're saying. Veronica says, I'm almost sure 99.9% she was there, helped at least. SW went in her truck. That's why we didn't see that in the camera of Nate, the neighbor. Was she maybe the truck lights that the neighbor saw that went by before Chris's truck or something like that? Weren't there truck lights that went by? It's been a while since I've delved into that specific part of the case. Heavenly says, I think CW and NK ambushed Shanann, possibly. That's a horrible thought, isn't it? Love the dancing NK. She just needs the creepy giggle. Sometimes I do have that in the opening, but didn't have it tonight. Yeah, so let's get into it. So Martin Decoder is talking about NK. Let me pop it forward a little bit.
Just didn't seem right. It was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching the ticket on.
I'm like, I don't even want to see you every day.
I've never, ever worked a case like this where someone told me that ever.
In his prison interview, Chris Watts, the man who committed one of the most heinous crimes in recent history, talks about his wife, Shanann, and his extramarital relationship with Nichol Kessinger. What makes Chris dangerous? What do his statements reveal about his personality and how? What are the inconsistencies and which linguistic tactics does he use? This case teaches us how to identify the language of deceptive people, which linguistic warning signs we need to watch out for. Welcome to the channel. The first thing that should be noted is how one of the agents, Coda, addresses Chris. Coda praises Chris and makes him sound special. This is the optimal way of getting someone as self-centered as Chris to talk. Let's listen.
For me personally, I don't know if you remember, but one of the last things you told me was, hey, Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you. And that stuck with me for the last couple months. It's been ringing in my head, right? I've never, ever worked a case like this where someone told me that ever. And so as I walked away, I thought.
Side note, seeing Chris at this Metallica concert, what do you think? Why was Metallica Chris Watts's favorite band? What do you think it was about Metallica? Do you think it was because there's like a lot of chanting in it, so it might be a way for him to tune out his parents and stuff like that with the chanting? I don't know. What do you think it was? What do you think the whole Metallica thing was?
Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard.
Coda establishes a relationship between him and Chris, a conversational discourse involving a you and an I.
I don't know if you remember.
Indicates that Chris has made an impact on him.
It's been ringing in my head, right?
And with his intonation
I've never, ever
and word choice,
unique.
he underlines that Chris is special, allegedly. Whether he downplays the uniqueness,
A little bit in that regard.
because his tactic would otherwise have been too obvious, is anyone's guess. The important thing is that Coda's preface establishes trust and gets Chris to think that there's something about him that's interesting. Also, by mentioning this example,
One of the last things you told me
So
was,
you
hey,
think these are all things? Well, I know these are all things that they are taught to do. They're able to size you up, and yeah.
Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you.
Coda implies that Chris has been honest with him before, so by inference, Chris can be honest with him again, namely in this interview. Coda cleverly minimizes the interest that they as agents have in getting Chris to talk about his crime, as if Chris's well-being is their top priority.
I hope that when we're done, you'll feel better. I hope it'll be therapeutic. We're going to talk about, obviously, what happened with your family. So that's going to be hard to talk about. I appreciate anything you can tell me about it. If you need to take time out, if you need to get a tissue, that's fine, right? I think it'll be very good for you. It'll be good for us.
In the following, Chris is asked to tell about his relationship with Nichol.
Tell us about the time you spent with her.
Well, I mean, it felt like it was, I think like when you say like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue.
When people speak, they give clues about their identity, how they perceive themselves, and what they value. Here, the first thing on Chris's mind, apparently, What he values is the affirmation he gets from being pursued and being flattered. In that regard, Chris can use the shy guy narrative to make it look like things in life happen to him, that he's not the one instigating.
More like a shy guy.
I would have never in a million years thought something like this could happen to him. Bella was just like Chris, just like him, shy, cautious, conservative.
I was the quiet kid. I was I just kind of followed around. My sister was the rebellious one that always,
Like, I'm the good one.
This role functions as a mask because in Chris's case, there's a
I
lot.
mean, it is the quiet kids that you do need to be careful of. I mean, I was a quiet kid, and there was a lot of turmoil going on in my world, and I was quiet, and I got away with a lot because I was quiet.
That indicates that being shy isn't his primary defining characteristic, but that lack of remorse and emotions in general are traits that aren't typically associated with shy people, but with psychopathic people. Chris could have potentially used this mask, parroted this narrative, to deceive people throughout his life, taking advantage of people's trust.
I mean, I've always had a really crazy imagination as well. Like when I was a kid, like I even convinced my teacher I went to Japan over the summer or to China or something.
Why did you convince your teacher you had gone to another country?
It was just like what you did over the summer. And I was like, oh, I went to China. And she's all right. She actually believed it. I was really convincing.
Chris was asked to tell about the time he spent with Nichol, but he immediately
He was practicing his lying skills, I guess.
starts talking about his wife, his victim. Let's listen.
Like when me and Shanann met, it was like, she was always like pushing me away, kind of like, I guess I wasn't her type. And
You weren't her type?
I wasn't her type because like she told me like when she first, because we had met.
She told you that? Yeah, you're not.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was like
Chris makes his relationship with Nichol sound positive.
I wonder what Shanann's type was if Chris wasn't her type, because I vaguely remember, I feel like I saw a picture of her first husband, and wasn't he chubby? Like what it seems like Chris is her type, because Chris was pretty chubby when they met, in my opinion.
By hinting
He had extra weight on him. I don't want to say chubby.
at negative aspects of his relationship with his wife. This is the first of several instances where Chris portrays his victim in a negative or slightly negative light. I'll get back to why that's important. In the following, notice how it doesn't sound like Chris is describing an experience with his victim, someone whose life he took. This is telling.
when we first met, like was at a movie theater. I should know the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. Yeah.
I think he came like he was going to a Cinemax.
Yeah, it's when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. No, I'm not here to meet.
Here, the agents aligning laughter and encouraging responses help underline that Chris's knowledge about what he's done doesn't stop him from narrating in a carefree tone of voice. He even impersonates his victim. Chris is reminiscing as if he hadn't committed a crime. In the following, Chris continues with yet another narrative, and a point to remember about narratives is that the narrator is like a director, guiding the audience what to think about the characters in it. Thus,
It just dawned on me. Maybe that's why I like the Gypsy Rose case, because Gypsy Rose reminds me a lot of Chris Watts, in that, I feel like they're both hypersexual. They both mirror other, and it's psychopath traits. We know what it is, but they both mirror each other, or mirror other people because they don't know how to act and behave. I mean, just look at Gypsy Rose. Has she not tried to turn into a Mia 2.0? Like her mannerisms are Mia. I mean, she is just, Mia needs to be afraid. She needs to be afraid because somebody said today in one of the comments, like they felt like Gypsy Rose was the one that sprinkled the weed killer and then blamed it on the other person and on her mother. And Gypsy was probably the one. Yeah, Gypsy was probably the one doing it. Come on now. Come on. All right, so let's keep going. Let's move forward. We're going to move to Timeless Mysteries. This is a friend of ours. He's been on one of our panels, Robert. And this one is find out if Nichol Kessinger used dark magic to influence Chris Watts. Woo. Do you think she used her spooky vibes to do stuff? I think she tried. At the very least, she was doing something. And I think words have meanings. Therefore, spells have got to have meanings because they're full of words, and there's energy and spiritual matter out there that we have no idea what's going on out there. And I think she was doing something. What do you guys think? And I keep forgetting too. I keep shooting this up here. I wanted to say thank you, Heavenly, so much for the super sticker. You're able to give me super stickers over on YouTube, and stars are over on Facebook. And anything that you give me is so appreciated. It shows me that you love and support my work, and it makes me feel really good. And I really appreciate it. Right. She brings out the worst in me. Yeah. This case, I feel like, although sometimes when I'm feeling super tense and frustrated, like I am, like lately, I've been feeling just like super tense and frustrated because I want things to move and they're not moving. Like coming on and calling Chris an idiot and stuff like that makes me feel less stressed out. Like I put out my aggression on Chris Watts, which probably isn't a healthy thing to do after just saying that words have meaning. But I mean, does anyone else do it? Does it just feel better to be like you idiot, you moron, you fraud, you liar, you dick, you asshole. Anyway, that felt good. Oops, sorry for that. Like he makes me angry. He makes me angry. Him and Gypsy Rose make me really angry. And I'm about to go into the Idaho 4 case again. And Brian Koberger makes me really angry too. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing because I'll get my anger out on these cases. Yes, Chris Watts is a monster. He's an absolute monster, and he hates being called a monster. So let's call him a monster at every take we can do. Chrissy Monster Poo Pants Watts. Sniffing farts in prison. Woo. I am unleashing. Sorry, guys, if it's offensive to anyone. I love Watts and Weird Watts Wednesday too. Yeah, I'm gonna probably bring it back because I have missed talking about the Watts case, and I'm talking about the Gypsy Rose case on Friday. Those are my two popular cases. I went off into the Richard Allen case. I also am going to talk about the ending of the Richard Allen case, but I think I have a creator that's going to join me on that. So yeah, I introduced the case to my sister today. She had no idea. People here where I live have never really. See, I'm always shocked when I feel like everybody should know the Watts case, and I feel like everybody should know the Gypsy Rose, the true narrative of the case, but sometimes people don't even know who Gypsy Rose is. So I'm just glad I have you guys to talk to, because for the longest time, I didn't have any true crime, conspiracy. I had a lot of paranormal people to talk to. So I'm good with the paranormal people, but more paranormal people too would be good. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for you guys. So let's go into this one. I'm also grateful because I'm meeting fellow content creators. And like I said, this is Robert from Timeless Mysteries. And he's been doing really well on he does quite a bit of Watts content, you guys. So if you've never heard of him, which, I mean, he has 4,000 subscribers. I mean, whew, I'm almost up to 5,000. We're about 100 and so away from 5,000. So it'll be really great when we hit the 5,000. So check to see if you're subscribed. I would love to have you. But his is to find out if Nichol Kessinger used dark magic to influence Chris Watts.
Confessed to the brutal murders of his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. He mentioned something that left investigators and the public uneasy.
Oh, yay. He's using his real voice now. He was using a different voice, and I think he has a good voice, and I'm so happy to hear his real voice.
In a moment of chilling candor, Watts referred to dark things happening at Nichol Kessinger's home. What did he mean by that? Was it a vague reference to something more sinister at play? Could these dark things have directly influenced him in ways we might never understand? Strangely, this statement was never thoroughly investigated, leaving a haunting gap in the narrative. Today, we're going to delve deeper into the mystery of Nichol Kessinger, her alleged involvement with dark practices, the Ordo Templi Orientis, a secretive elite society steeped in occult rituals.
Oh man, every time
whether or
I
not
click
these
off of
dark
it, it goes
things had
down.
any influence over one of the most disturbing family annihilations.
I'm sorry, you guys. I've got to take it back because I couldn't get that off the screen. So he's talking about, oh, this is so interesting. He's going to get into, maybe I'll have him on because I did email Robert today and asked him if he wanted to do a live together. Would you guys be interested if we did more on Nichol Kessinger and the dark magic shit that she does?
Modern history. The idea sounds outrageous, but
this
today
is why I
we'll
don't
explore
start
the
swearing, you
accusations,
guys.
the facts, and the chilling possibilities.
This will be the last time I stop this. I promise I'll let him say this, but this is why I don't start swearing, because once I do, it's just I just start putting it into sentences, and it's like, and then I start starting out sentences like with the F word. I saw today that it said that people who swear are smarter, more trustworthy, and there was something else, but I picked up smarter and more trustworthy. And I will say that I really didn't swear too much until I went off to college, and then I started my sentences with the F word. So I got a BA and swearing too. And I love a good swear word. I really do. I love a good swear word, but I'm going to try to stop, because I also watched a video today that said if you swear too much on your YouTube, you can get removed.
Kept this case shrouded in an eerie mystique. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Please like and subscribe as we uncover whether these rumors are fact or fiction. Nichol Kessinger was from South Dakota and moved to Colorado hoping to build a new life. Known to have an adventurous spirit, she otherwise led an ordinary life with the usual ups and downs. It's said she had a fascination with New Age practices. Rumors began swirling that dark magic was somehow part of her life. But was it the truth?
Was it really dark magic?
To these layers of speculation.
I mean, New Age stuff isn't necessarily dark stuff. There's a lot of light New Age people out there. So was it really dark?
The claim that Nichol Kessinger had a spiritual advisor. While having a spiritual advisor is not inherently suspicious, it has fueled rumors that Kessinger was involved in more esoteric and sinister practices. Some have even suggested that she owns a New Age shop where she might have engaged in practices like tarot card reading, crystal healing, and other forms of modern-day mysticism.
Really? She owned or owns? Did he say owns or owns? Sorry, I really have to get the speakers in.
However, There is no credible evidence to suggest that Kessinger ever owned or operated a New Age store. The idea seems to be more rumor than reality, likely born out of the public's need to explain her connection to Chris Watts's crimes. It's important to remember that millions of people...
and so what if she owned a New Age store? I mean, I'm sorry, New Age isn't necessarily dark. There's dark and there's light. There's dark and light and everything. There's dark in everything, and there's light in everything, and there's dark in you and there's light in you, and you need to learn to make friends with both sides. And so I'm not convinced that owning a New Age store makes you dark in any way.
Consult spiritual advisors, tarot card readers, and fortune tellers every day without any nefarious intentions. Even if Kessinger had been involved with such practices, it would not necessarily connect her to something as secretive or sinister as the Ordo Templi Orientis.
Oh, it sounds like he agrees. And yeah, she made him a special drink at night and never told him what it was. I wonder what that was. Could have been anything. And and Chris, okay, I'll take it. Go. Okay, I'll give my wife these. If only, it's such a horrible thing for Chris to say, like, if Shanann had actually had the miscarriage, like, she would still be alive today. And then who knows, maybe Nikki would have been the one that got the axe. Neither is good. Neither's a good scenario, by the way.
The OTO is not just another secret society. It has deep roots in dark rituals, arcane knowledge, and a pursuit of power that goes beyond the material world. Founded in the early 20th century, the OTO emerged as a fraternal and religious organization with deep ties to esotericism and the occult. These teachings are heavily influenced by the works of Aleister Crowley, one of the most infamous occultists of the 20th century, who claimed to have unlocked the secrets of the universe through his exploration of ritual magic. Crowley, often referred to as the Beast, is a figure who conjures both fear and fascination. His writings, including the Book of the Law, laid the foundations for Thelma, the spiritual philosophy that underpins the OTO's teachings. While Crowley did not write the Satanic Bible, that was Anton LaVey, he did explore dark and controversial themes that some have equated with Satanism. Crowley's works often delve into concepts like the left-hand path, which emphasizes the pursuit of individual power and enlightenment through unconventional and often taboo means. OTO rituals often involve complex ceremonies designed to invoke spiritual entities, channel hidden energies, and unlock the deeper layers of the human psyche. Some of these rituals, especially those associated with sex magic, are shrouded in secrecy that is meant to harness primal forces for personal and spiritual gain. These practices have led to the OTO being misunderstood and feared by outsiders as inherently evil or even satanic. The OTO is...
Yeah, I've heard, like, with Aleister Crowley, I've heard both sides. Like, I've heard people say, oh, he's satanic. And then I've heard people say, like, oh, he's not really satanic. He just, like, is delving into... like a lot of people call it the dark soul of the night. Like, I feel like I'm just coming out of one of those. Like, I've been in one really deep, but sounds like he does it ritualistically for fun. Yay. Although also he's probably trying to pull some kind of pleasure out of it.
Is known for its strict hierarchical structure, with members advancing through various degrees of initiation, each one revealing deeper and more esoteric knowledge. The highest degrees of the OTO are said to grant access to the most powerful rituals and the deepest secrets of the order, knowledge that remains elusive to all but a select few. Rumors have even circulated that there is a secret handshake or some other sign used by OTO members to recognize one another, and that these could be used to exert influence or to protect fellow members from legal scrutiny. Some conspiracy theorists have speculated that such a gesture could have been used to ensure that Nichol Kessinger was not properly investigated by the police, despite her close involvement with Chris Watts. However, it's crucial.
What do you think about the idea that this was, because I feel like this Odinism thing in the Richard Allen Delphi case, the guards were wearing these patches that were like, in Odin we trust. And I just feel like Richard Allen has been completely railroaded. Do you think that maybe there was a lot of people in this society in Colorado? And this is what got Kessinger out? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. We live in a world where anything can happen these days, in my opinion. He's a classless, clueless moron. Yeah. All right, so let's keep going. We're going to lighten the mood up a little bit and do a little Zawoki. He has Nichol Kessinger. This was 3 weeks ago. Nichol Kessinger's suspicious phone activity after Chris Watts unaliving part 1.
This one, you guys will get that little ring notification.
Let me make sure you're seeing it. Okay. And make sure you're hearing it.
That I've posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so much for the love and support that you guys show on my channel every single day. I'm so blessed to have all of you guys. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys also check over on Footsteps of Murder's channel. Watch their old stuff, watch their new stuff. You know the deal. Make sure you guys go give them some love. And with that being said, let's get into Nichol Kessinger's phone calls after the murders and why they're so red flagged.
Hold on a second. Is he watching somebody else's video? Let's see what's happening.
Take a look. All right, so I'm going to have to not use the audio. I'm going to have to commentate and also read this. So hopefully you guys don't get too bored of me just sitting
Okay, he's going off of another video, so we're just gonna move on. And I've got what time is it? Let me look and see what time it is really quick. Where am I at on time? Oh, I got some time. Okay, so I've got something with Nancy Grace. Crime Online has Nancy Grace weighing in on it. He did this to save his own. Oh, also, let me make sure you're seeing it. Yes, you are. Okay. He did this to save his own skin. Nancy Grace weighs in on Chris Watts' stunning guilty plea to unaliving his family. Oh, wait. I think this is old. This is old. This is 2018. Sorry, folks. I got something else, though. One fumble after another. No, I've got one other thing. Well, actually, I have two other things up. I always get a little extra just in case I do this. Man, I was really looking forward to reading that one too, because I thought it was brand new. Okay, so true crime cases. And I also, side note, hate when 2018 videos pop up when I put in the parameters that I only want to go a month out. That's annoying. Let me look really quick too. I'm a bad scanner. Did she say something new? No. What? No. Oh, we're getting close to the time where Watts was scheduled. I do see here that he was scheduled on November 19th. Okay. The criminal husband who fooled everyone, even FBI. This is a true crime documentary by True Crime Cases. And let's see what they have to say. And this one was 3 weeks ago.
Perfect couple. Chris and Shanann Watts seemed like the perfect couple. Shanann was a loving mother who adored her family. She shared her life on social media, always smiling, always showing off how happy they were. Shanann worked from home selling a health product called Thrive, and she was good at it. She made sure people knew she was working hard for her family and living her best life.
Okay, this looks like it's just a documentary of the family. If you're here, I'm guessing you know this case, and I did kind of talk about it at the beginning, what it was about. So let's go back. We're going to do another Timeless Mysteries. He has Master of the Narcissist, Chris Watts's chilling use of dark empathy. I thought this one was a really interesting one. I just didn't know if you guys wanted two of the same creator back to back, but let's do it. Let's go for it.
Say hi, Bells. Hi, Bill. No, you gotta say hi.
I love that video. That's like the cutest thing when she's like, say hi, Bells. And Belle's like, hi, Bells. I just love that. I love when kids are being so absolutely adorable.
Hi.
When Chris and I got married, we moved out here after visiting, fell in love with the area. It's gorgeous in Colorado.
How is it possible that a woman and two kids are just completely gone off the face of the earth?
A family disappears and attention shifts to one man.
This guy right here, he's gonna do all the dishes.
That's me.
That's me. I'm an asshole.
The phone so I can get pictures.
That's
please.
me. I'm an idiot.
My husband's a genius.
Oh, he's not.
Behind the idyllic family facade, a darker reality simmered within the Watts household. When two people are obsessed with control and their own image, how can they possibly stay in a relationship together? Someone has to surrender or someone has to go, right? Ironically, public opinion paints both Chris and Shanann as narcissists, but two narcissists can rarely coexist in the same room, let alone be married. So how did these two do the impossible? It's simple. Chris Watts is not a narcissist. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Please like and subscribe. In most scenarios, the narcissist holds the power while the victim struggles to live up to their unrealistic expectations. But Chris wasn't a victim, nor was he the passive, controlled man Shanann believed him to be.
What the heck? I'll never meet him. He's just a Facebook friend. I have a million of them. Nothing's gonna come of it. Well, 2 weeks later, we finally meet on a blind date and ended up falling in love with him.
Here's the secret Chris Watts doesn't want anyone to know. He wanted Shanann to believe she was in control. Every time her decisions aligned with his desires, he skillfully fed into her narcissism, reinforcing her belief that she was in control. He played the role of the compliant, defeated husband, faking submission like a predator.
Being a control freak, just another way of saying a narcissist, and not all narcissists are murderers, obviously.
Pretending to be wounded, only to watch and wait while maintaining control all along. Today, we explore the inner dynamics of a severely toxic relationship that resulted in the death of a pregnant woman and her two young daughters.
So toxic. So toxic that it resulted in this madness. Hey guys, I just want to remind you, this is Parawomenradio and I'm Amy. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Look and see if you're subscribed, and if you're not, why aren't you subscribed?
I'd like to make it clear that being a narcissist doesn't necessarily make you inherently evil. Almost everyone has some degree of narcissism in their personality profile that they try to hide. However,
I heard someone say to me, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but somebody said every kid's a narcissist. And I was like, yeah, I thought about it. And I was like, yeah. and then you just kind of have to help them grow out of it and switch into a different mode. But we all contain some narcissism in us. We all do. Because it's part of our darkness. We're human beings. We're not all good and we're not all bad. It's like a mixture of both, and we're just all learning to balance these things. But some people just, I mean, obviously there's a screw loose in Chris Watts that he thinks he can take it to the point where he can unalive somebody. And I mean, if Nichol Kessinger did it, I mean, she got away with it. She got away with it.
Chris Watts wasn't just a narcissist. He is a dark empath. Think about that for a second. What comes to mind? Dark empathy. I know everyone has met one or two people who are deeply empathetic. These are the people we turn to when we need to talk about our problems. It's almost magical how they can absorb our problems, making them disappear as if they never existed in the first place.
Chris Watts is somebody that always was going to need guidance, no matter what. And if you don't think, like, Nichol Kessinger was just another version of an evil version of Shanann Watts, because he was just going to be controlled by NK, and NK was playing the game that this guy was saying that Chris was playing with Shanann. She was making Chris think that he was in control by being heard finally. And once she sealed the deal with Chris on that was not going to be a good thing. It wasn't a good thing to start with, but I mean, if Chris Watts thought that the NK thing he was gonna ride off into the sunset, I don't think so. I think he was gonna smack right into the wall, and either she was gonna do. I mean, it was gonna be that would have been good. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? If Nichol did it, wouldn't it have been nice? Like if they could have rode off into the sunset and they just like tore each other to pieces, made each other miserable, and then yeah. Anyway. I'm getting off into fantasy land.
Chris understood that the key to his power was letting Shanann believe she was the one in charge.
So I am a hot mess, so disregard. I'm going to go live when Chris gets here because he'll kill me if I tried these without him. But no. Hold on, mommy. 2 cinnamon rolls and 2 cake.
Chris has something all narcissists don't. He has high emotional intelligence. His mastery of emotional manipulation wasn't accidental. It's a skill that he honed throughout childhood, growing up with a narcissistic mother.
I didn't like the way she treated him. I just got a bad feeling. Christopher always seemed anxious. I didn't believe they were missing. I believe that she was going to punish Chris.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like Chris was his mother and Shanann was her mother. So they, and I think Frank has said like Sandy ran the house, and and we know the 2 fights but the big fight in Colorado that Sandy and Shanann got into. So, I mean, they were each of their mother's thing. And by the way, I won that copyright strike with Sandy. And here's the thing. If Sandy had just told me she wanted me to take that portion out of the video, I would have done it. And here's all it was. It was the grave. It was the cemetery. For whatever reason. But, and that to me just tells me that there's a lot of control there, and and just simply asking me would have done the trick. But I mean, maybe she's experienced so much that she just assumed that I was going to be that person. But I mean, you can't assume people are that person, because not everybody is that person.
That relationship was toxic. He's not the sociopath next door. He's not the psychopath.
His mother likely never realized she was being manipulated by her own child. As an adult, marrying Shanann was a calculated choice. To continue the dynamic of passive manipulation, that he'd already mastered. As Chris transitioned from pretending to be under his mother's control to pretending to be under the control of his wife's. So what is a dark empath? While the idea of someone understanding and manipulating emotions isn't a new concept in psychology, the term dark empathy is. This term offers a more precise label than older terms like psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder. Unlike those, dark empathy highlights the ability to mirror and exploit emotions with chilling effectiveness. This is a framework that fits Chris Watts far better than the alternatives. Chris Watts didn't act impulsively, nor did he seek validation in the typical ways of a narcissist. Psychologists might challenge the label of dark empath, preferring more established diagnoses like antisocial personality disorder or psychopathy. However, psychopaths typically don't understand or feel emotions on a deep level. They manipulate through cold, calculated behaviors without emotional awareness. Those with antisocial personality disorder, while possibly they understand emotions to some extent, they tend to be more overt, aggressive, and forceful in their control. What sets Chris apart is his ability to deeply understand and mirror emotions, all while remaining emotionally detached. This made him particularly dangerous, allowing him to manipulate those around him with subtle emotional control, a hallmark of dark empathy. Given the definitions of psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder, dark empathy provides a more accurate understanding of Chris Watts' manipulative tendencies. Psychologists might also argue that Chris's behavior before the murders, including the way he handled his relationship with both his wife and his mistress, could be aligned with the traits of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissists often seek validation and admiration, but can become cold and calculating when their needs are threatened. In Chris's case, his actions leaving his mother, replacing Shanann with Nichol, suggest that he wasn't driven by emotional connections, but by a need to remove obstacles standing in the way of his desires. These women were sources of control or validation. When they no longer served his interest, Chris discarded them with a detached precision. While this fits patterns seen with narcissistic personality disorder, Chris wasn't emotionally invested in anyone at all.
Put that blanket over her too, did the same thing.
Same blanket, same way?
She said, "No, Daddy." That's the last thing she said.
I think the hardest part knowing our granddaughter watched her sister die.
It's worse than we even thought.
You had a real strong connection as a grandmother.
Thank you, Mama, Papa.
He manipulated their emotions while remaining emotionally detached, using them as tools to quietly assert power and clear his path. Take, for example, Chris's interaction with his father, Ronnie Watts, during the interrogation. As he confessed to the murders, Chris visibly made himself smaller, shrinking into his seat and whispering, "I killed her."
From what we've been told, he strangled her to death and began wrapping her up in a sheet.
Did Bella walk in while he was wrapping her?
Bella asked, "What are you doing with Mommy?"
Despite the gravity of his confession, he managed to secure sympathy and support from a man who had just lost his grandchildren to his own son's violence.
Something with it, whatever, and he ran with it and said, yeah, she was.
But they had to come up with something.
Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. I got a virus threat that popped up. Wow, there's a lot of threats popping up. Okay, so while that's running, I even forgot what I said. Anyway, it's not working. I think I got I gotta go into my history and delete some stuff. I think there's a cookie. I got a cookie or something. All right. Sorry about that, guys.
With the kids and
Well, he at least got him to confess.
Yes.
That something had happened. At least it sped things along.
I'm glad this is going to shut up all the people that are still saying that Shannon did it.
No, that didn't shut the people up.
This wasn't a coincidence. It speaks to Chris's deeply ingrained ability to present himself as a victim, even after committing an unthinkable act. His body language and soft-spoken confession were carefully calculated to elicit pity rather than outrage. This manipulation transcends typical forms of narcissism and deceit, revealing a far more insidious and terrifying mastery of emotional control.
I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here.
Then I also want you to look at his physical distancing. He's in closed body position and he's rocking back and forth in a self-soothing sort of way.
I just want them back. I just want them to come back.
Making Chris Watts a much greater threat than anyone could have ever imagined. Chris Watts' emotional detachment and manipulation didn't begin after
He was a bigger threat than anyone ever knew. You know what I mean? Like he I just wish that we knew what we know, right? I just wish that it didn't happen. But I think we all wish that Chris Watts hadn't succeeded in doing what he set out to do on that horrible, horrible night. So that's all I have for tonight, you guys. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Let me see what you guys are saying. Exactly. Beware of the quiet ones. And I say that because I was a quiet one. But I don't say it about, I would never, I'm joking that I would never do what Chris did. You need to clean your phone cookies. Yeah, this thing keeps popping up. I did get a new PC and I don't know how to work it yet. I'm still kind of learning it. And because I was on a laptop, I was on a laptop and now I'm on a PC and I kind of miss the laptop. So, but I do enjoy the large screen of the PC. So I'm sure I'll love it once I get it up and running. I'm hoping maybe this Friday I'll be on camera again. I'm going to set things up so I'm on camera at least once a week so you guys can touch base with my face. Okay, so let me do some this thing that keeps popping up. Thankfully, you guys can't see it. Laura Lynn, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Heavenly, thank you so much for the super sticker. Yay for Heavenly being a member for 4 months. And I love you right back, Laura Lynn, for being a member 2 months. Not even just for being a member, just for being you. And you're going to get good news soon. I just know it. All right, guys. If nobody, I'm going to go. Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to see what you guys are saying real quick. Laura Lynn, thank you for, Laura Lynn gave the membership. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for being here, Veronica. Thank you for being here, Hollywood. I love you. I love you, Veronica. I love you, Heavenly. Thank you for being the best moderator. Zawoki, wish we could get good news with this case. Is something going on with Zawoki in the case? Is he on to something? And good to see you, Don. Is he hot on the case to something? That would be interesting if something new popped up in this case. Liar, yes. He's a liar, pants on fire. Yeah, it bothers me the way that Ronnie trashes Shanann. I mean, it bothers me the way his mom does it, but, you know, you expect it with the mom. With Ronnie, I don't know. I always thought Ronnie got a pass that he shouldn't have gotten on this whole situation. And I feel like the Rechecks got a really raw deal with this situation. But also the Watts got it too, because Chris is stringing them along. It just pisses me off the way he just strings them along. And it also makes me mad the way I feel like they were starting to wake up. I don't know. I haven't looked over on Dave's channel over on Rumble to see if they are still hanging. So I don't know what's new with the Watts either. So I guess it's good I'm bringing Weird Watts Wednesday back, because I don't know what's going on with anybody in this case except Chris. I know a little bit about what's going on, Chris. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. You guys are the best. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Hello to the replay crew. You know, you're in my heart and soul. Dan says he has kept it alive, videos for 6 years. He's the reason I subscribed to his channel, but every video there, a lot of evidence points to NK. Yeah. A lot of evidence points to NK. A lot of roads lead to NK. So that's why, I mean, I used to be like, maybe like 10% she did it. And I'm more like up to like maybe 50% that she helped. She could have helped. She did, she didn't. I don't know. I don't know. We're just all guessing here. But I feel like the research that gets done on this case helps us kind of move it along. So I am grateful for the fellow creators that keep this case going. I came in like 2 years later because I was really sick when this case happened. In fact, I was in the hospital when this case happened, and I heard Shanann on the TV. It was her purple shirt spring just before she was off to see her parents' speech, and it gave me inspo, and I'll always be grateful to her for that, and that's what got me interested in the case. She made me feel like I could get up out of the bed and do it. I had back surgery, and it was a hard recovery, and yeah, and then I had a brain bleed, so. But I'm glad that I'm here to report on the case today, and I'm glad that you guys were here with me. And if nobody's told you this today, I'm going to tell you this. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Oh, shoot. You know what? I don't have the outro. Oh, no, I do have the outro queued. Wait, do I have the outro? I do have the outro queued up. All right. I had some things happen today, you guys, where my mind is everywhere. And I apologize. I was really flighty at the end here. Okay, guys, I'm going to go for real. If nobody's told you this, I'm still going to tell. If nobody's told you this, I'm having to click off this error. It keeps popping up so I can see the screen. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm a complete mess sometimes. But I love you guys so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Guys, welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart of sin and you. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you. Carefully strumming this old guitar again, words rolling out into